10 after.
All right, at 6:10, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We've already did the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer at the last meeting, so we're going to the adoption of the agenda. I'd like to amend the agenda and add under unfinished business. We have a couple of employees with the city that are long overdue to get some service awards that we've either forgot the plaques or forgot to tell them to be here. So they're here tonight. We have the plaques, so I want to add that to the agenda to make sure we get that done tonight. So could I have a motion to amend the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler makes a motion. Mark seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Meg, can you hear us? Is
Yeah.
all right. All right. All right, moving on to the approve the minutes of the regular council meeting, July 13th, 2026. Everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes. Any additions or corrections? Could I get a motion? Mark makes a motion. Dave seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Moving on to the invoices, pay request presented for pavement. You have looked all the way down through all of those. Any questions for Leanne or Linda about some of the bills that are being paid? Most of these have already been paid. And I might add something that Leanne may mention it later. A lot of bills are already budgets approved spending with the different departments. So within that, now we're finding out, like, for example, if a bill comes in late, has to wait another month to be paid, then we're paying a late fee because we're not paying it on time. So that's something we've talked about this in years past. It's already been approved per the budget. So we don't really, I mean, we shouldn't need to have to ask every month for permission to pay the bills because you pretty much gave that permission when the budget was approved for the different departments. So that's just something to keep in mind for future, for down the road. But again, as the way it is right now, we need to go ahead and pay the bills. So, Mark makes a motion. I'll second. Ryan seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to citizens' comments. It looks like we have 3 here. Kurt, I'm not going to try to get your last name. I believe it's, come on up to the podium. You get.
He's here for a resolution.
Oh, he's here for a resolution. Okay, Kurt, we'll catch with you when we get to the resolution. Ty Copeland, you want to address a stop sign at Wishon and Scioto?
Yeah, so 2 months in a row, I'm feeling special to be here. So I'm asking about the possibility of adding a stop sign at Scioto, on Scioto at Wishon. Currently, there's a stop sign on Wishon at that intersection, which is like coming from the Tiger Cubs building of the elementary or out of the bus lot that way, or coming from behind the St. James Christian Church. There's stop signs on Wishon there. There's not stop signs on Scioto. So we have there are kids who go back behind the Christian church to gather after school now. So there's usually a group of kids back there. During football season, there's a bunch of football players who are driving out of the high school parking lot and driving back to the football field. We've had residents back in that neighborhood complain about cars speeding too fast, people not stopping at stop signs. So I understand that adding another stop sign that people may not be stopping at doesn't necessarily solve that problem. But as a city, I feel like we're not opposed to stop signs. If anybody's driven back behind the Veterans Home, there's 1,000,005 stop signs back there. As far as kids crossing, I know the school just built some new sidewalks and they're trying to push people over to that direction. But for the high school kids, the quickest path to the football field from the high school is walking up next to the Christian church and then crossing at that crossing. Adding a stop sign is going to help slow traffic down at minimum. But I'm asking this all selfishly as running the buses. When we're leaving the elementary parking lot in the afternoon, we're coming up to that stop sign and we're waiting for cars who are coming up Scioto. that don't have to stop to make left turns, to go straight, to make right turns. They don't turn on their turn signals, so if they're making a right turn, we still have to sit there and wait. And especially at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, it's really hot on the school buses, and we've got 14 of them that are leaving there every day, and 50 to 60 kids on every bus. And the quicker we can get across town to get to the middle school, the quicker we can start getting kids unloaded. And a stop sign there is going to make a minimal impact, but it would make an impact. And I'm also trying to get with MoDOT about changing the way that the light is at James Boulevard. That would help us get through buses through there quicker. Also improve traffic there possibly as well. But as far as what I was told, the stop sign would be a city issue that would need to be addressed by ordinance. I talked to Mayor, and he forwarded me with Lyle, so we've had a little bit of a discussion, and the mayor told me that it would be best if I came and talked at the city council meeting about the possibility of adding that. As far as the school goes, they're supportive of it. They don't really care. But they do see that there would be some kids that would benefit from having an extra stop sign there, and it would possibly lower the amount of complaints that they get about kids speeding back there by the football field. So that's what I've got.
All right, council, if you have any questions, I think, so we passed that on to Lyle. You can get with him for the pros and cons of this proposal. So if we want to put it on the agenda for next month, we'll do so at the council's request. So last one is Linda Bird.
Hi, everyone. I'm not really good at public speaking, so, bear with me. The reason I wanted to come here tonight is because you have the ability tonight to make a decision that could protect the citizens of St. James and potentially, not guaranteed, but potentially future generations. I have grown up in nature. I was born and raised here. I love the environment. I love trees. I love water. I love animals. And that's one of, my focus in life, I guess, is protecting that for future generations. I know that data centers are a controversial issue and that there are people that want to profit from selling land to developers. But I also want you to consider that when you're making a decision, to take into consideration that you have a whole town full of people, and to try to make a decision that is going to be for the benefit of the all, for the good of all, versus for the benefit of a few. I am very concerned about the energy consumption living in the city limits of St. James. I know that we pay a lot for electricity, more so than the county, and I know that because I have family members that live in the county, and they pay roughly half of what we pay here. So I'm concerned about energy bills going up. I'm also concerned about water usage, because this is an area where people love to fish, they love to float, they love to canoe. It's a very outdoors environment, and I want to see that continue. I don't want to see our water consumed at such a rate that it consumes far above what the whole town would consume by multiples. I don't want to see somebody come in and use that water up because we depend on it. Water is our life. Without it, we die. So I want you to consider that these data centers consume an inordinate amount of water, and that's a big issue for me. The other thing is they also use copious numbers of generators, and the hum alone from the generators running 24/7 can be heard, and this is verified, up to 5 miles away. It is very annoying to people who live within a 5-mile radius of it. It's a continual loud, and it's disrupted to people's normal life, the use of their property, and to birds and to bees, and I just don't think that something like that belongs in St. James. I would love to see it statewide, but that's not going to happen. But I think that there are enough of us that are concerned about data centers that we're willing to take the necessary steps should decisions be made that are contrary to the will of people. We're willing to do whatever is necessary within the legal limits to make sure that our life, our liberty, and our pursuit of happiness is protected. So, having said that, I leave it to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and we'll be addressing that here in a couple minutes. Moving on to, this is where the amendment was, some unfinished business. I have a couple of services to give out, so let me get up here and take care of this. The first one is here, the service award, which is actually closer to 7 now, since it's been a couple years getting it here. It's John MG. He's a utility in the electric department here at St. James. Thank you. And the other one there again, this is, he's about 17 years now, moving on. Same thing in the electric department, Grant Mueller. So, Grant, thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Again, we apologize for taking so long to get this out to you. Okay, moving on, under new business, ordinance 261324, amend the city code, chapter 405 regarding non-permitted uses and data centers. Leanne, you want to talk about that? I will say I went to the last P&Z meeting. More people at last P&Z meeting than has been in the almost 8 years I've been mayor, all combined. So overwhelming, no, we don't want them. No. So, and I think Leanne will say, the P&Z came back and said, no, we don't want them in St. James either. But Leanne, I'll let you talk about that. Linda, you want to read the first? We're going to do the first and second reading on this evening and get this taken care of and put behind us. So,
An ordinance amending the city code, chapter 405, regarding non-permitted uses and data centers.
Leanne, you have anything to add?
No, I just tell the council that there was a very active public hearing, a meeting of the P&Z that was on July 30th. I don't actually know exactly how many people came to that meeting.
It was close to 50. It had
Yeah.
to be in the upper 40s, close to 50 people.
Yeah, and it was very, very well attended. Pretty much what this ordinance is doing is just saying the uses are not permitted by provision, and that data centers, and defining it in here. And actually, Nathan put this ordinance together for us. So if there's anything in here that you don't really understand or have any conflict with in here, I'm sure he would actually, be glad to explain it, but I think it's very self-explanatory. Just pretty much explaining that this, it is going to become part of our city code. So this is permanent in the code. It's under chapter 405, and it is amending it. And it, I can read this if you'd like to, but it's pretty much amending the code under that section and adding 2 definitions, one being data centers, and then, and it shall be in full force and effective final passage and approval. So, any other questions?
All right, if no one has any questions, like I said, it was unanimous from the P and Z that they didn't want to see this happen. Like I mentioned, like to do a first and second reading tonight. So if I could get a motion on the first. Bill makes a motion. Mark makes a motion. Roll call. Tyler. Dave. Mark. Bill. Ryan. Is Meg back on?
I'm on. Aye.
Harris? Aye. Okay. Marcy? Steve? Linda, second reading.
An ordinance amending the city code, chapter 405, regarding non-permitted uses and data centers.
All right, discussion? A motion? Bill makes a motion.
I'll
Marcy
second.
seconds. Tyler? Dave? Mark? Bill? Ryan? Meg?
Aye.
Marcy? Steve? All right, thank you. Thank you all very much. Moving on to ordinance 261325. This is the first reading on this. Linda?
An ordinance amending chapter 230, waste, article 2, refuse collection fees on the city of St. James Municipal Code, first read only.
Leanne?
So Mayor and Council, this is the second year. This is section 230.270. And in front of you on your screen, this is what we are doing is this is the second year. We are requesting an increase in the residential rollout from $17.73 to $18.26, which is an increase of 53 cents monthly or annually. I can see that $6.36, I think, is what it is. And then for rollouts for commercial, we are asking for an increase for the second year from $19.71 to $20.30 monthly, which I think is an increase of $7.08 for annually. And then we are asking for some increases in the dumpster size. I will tell you that I got together with the solid waste supervisors, the two Matts. I can show you the database, but last year, I'm just going to sort of tell you, last year when we brought the 3 years to you, the rates that we had second year for the dumpsters, they were an increase in the dumpsters overall of 66%. We just felt that that was way too high. And I apologize, let me get my budget book out. This is going to become my Bible. It is my Bible. But if you go to your solid waste, which is Fund 120, if you look at the landfill tipping fees, we budgeted the landfill tipping fees at $240,000. For FY27, we are going to budget the landfill tipping fees at $210,000. We are going to try to take a very, did I drop something right there? Thank you so much, sir. We are going to try to take a very active, progressive, on recycling. And we're going to try to get our tipping fees down. They are already down. I think that Lyle passed out. He's going to probably go over what the tipping fees are. But we are seeing that the trash loads that are going to the landfill have been going down. And so if we can get those costs even further down, what I'm hoping is that the third year that we bring forward to you the increase in the solid waste will even be less. That is what my goals are, okay? So if I can cut down from the second year from 66% down to then what my goal is for the third year, we ask for an increase of 50%. For the dumpsters, if I can knock those down even further, then what my hope is that for the third year, we will ask for a very small increase in the third year. And hopefully, because the less that you can see in their budget, the biggest cost, of course, is salaries, and the other bigger cost is their landfill tipping fees. But, you know, I told you from the very beginning, solid waste is about trucks, and they need one more truck. And so, but the hope is that we can go after this truck and get to a 7-year loan. And if we can keep these loan, you know, we got a loan. This one, the loan is about $36,000. If we can, you know, if we can pay this loan off with that cost over 7 years, then that's reasonable. You see what I'm saying? So if we can be more progressive and try to get people in St. James to do more recycling, but that's also in recycling means that we're probably going to need a bigger recycling truck, a bigger recycling, you know, right now our recycling truck is very small, and the crusher that we have for recycling is very small. So we need, you know, if we're going to become more active in recycling, because recycling, while it is not free, okay, because it still has labor, but when we take recycling to Rolla, we do not have to pay for that recycling. So that is what our goal is. Our goal is to try to really, you know, hit recycling hard this year, try to have a campaign, order some more recycling bins, and try to even try to maybe try to get more recycling in the commercial as well. It would be nice if we could even later on, you know, this is a pie in the sky, you know, but even have, you know, recycling dumpsters, the blue recycling dumpsters. Let's, you know, we've got more businesses that are coming in here. I mean, we all know that, you know, Amazon's probably got a lot of cardboard. You know, we know that a lot of these businesses are doing cardboard, and we do have some businesses where you do a lot of cardboard. You call it commercial cardboard. But right now, they're just putting these in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they're not, you know, so I mean, we've got something going, but we need more of this, and we need to organize this better. So this is what we're going to be working on. So
I would say the biggest takeaway from this is it's only going to cost the residents 53 cents a month, $6 and something. Most of the cost will be passed on to the dumpsters and things like
Last
that.
year, the
minimal
dumpsters-
cost to the residents.
right.
So.
Last year, not increased the dumpsters that much. What we did was we looked at what the rates were for Rolla, and we matched what Rolla's was, because we didn't want to, you know, go that high. We have been talking with Rolla, and Rolla's been asking us, you know, what are y'all going to do? Well, what are y'all going to do? Well, what are y'all going to do? And so, you know, so we're working with them to try, you know, and they've been saying the same thing. We're going to have to go up on our rates as well, because everything, it's going up. So this is only a first read. I just wanted to bring that to you because I am going to be putting this out there for the public to get public input, you know, for, you know, to talk to them, you know, put it out there on our website and things like that, just to get some, so that way when we do come back next month, we can give you any, you know, if anybody has come and talked to us, then we can let you know, or if they talk to you, you can let us know, so that way we can address that. Okay?
Nathan wants to add something here.
Sure.
Yeah, Council, my apologies, I should have caught this before it got to you, but we need to make an amendment to the ordinance. It doesn't have an effective date on it. So I would suggest an amendment that says that this ordinance will be effective upon final passage and approval. I can pass you down the language.
Where do I need to make that?
I just stuck it in at the,
Did you? Okay, thank you. We didn't do
questions
it on the first one, so that's why I didn't have it in this one. Sorry.
Catch that either.
Okay.
It's 2 strikes against me.
All right, so with the amendment to the ordinance that Nathan has mentioned, we'd like to move forward with it on the first reading with that amendment being added. Bill makes the motion as amended.
Second.
Dave seconds. Roll call. Tyler. Dave. Mark. Bill. Ryan. Meg.
Aye.
Marcy. Steve. All right. Put this on the agenda next month for the second reading.
Yes.
Resolution 26448, approved pole attachment agreement with Socket Telecom LLC, DBA Socket Fiber. Kurt, is that what you're here in reference to? All right, so if you want to take a few minutes and kind of, or Leanne, we'll go with you first. Let's go ahead and read the resolution, Linda, if you would.
A resolution approving a pole attachment agreement with the City of St. James and Socket Telecom LLC, DBA Socket Fiber of Sikeston, Missouri, providing for facility attachments to city electric poles.
Leanne and Kurt.
So Council, Mayor, so we brought this pole agreement to the utility board last week. They did approve this, that we bring this forward to council. I will tell you that this is our template agreement. We did make one minor, we have had recently, Toth and Associates review the pole agreement because we did have, since we've had our last pole agreement, and we've had a company that has recently come in and started attaching to our poles, it has been very difficult for our electrical team to monitor all of the attachments on the poles. And so one of the things that we did add to the pole agreement was that if it is needed, we would hire a company such as Toth or really anybody, but of our approval, that we would hire somebody to come in and evaluate or come in and making sure that whoever we're doing the pole agreement with, to make sure that they are, doing what they say they're doing in the pole agreement, and to monitor them and to make sure that they are following the pole agreement, okay? And so we added that to the language in here. It's a very simple language, and so that's just the only difference that's in here. I will sort of plug a little bit of kudos for Socket since Kurt is here. Toth had nothing but great kudos to say about Socket as well, but I'll let Kurt talk on his behalf as well.
Yeah. Really, just, Socket, if you're not familiar with us, we've been around in Columbia since 1994. I've been with Socket since 2000, so for over 25 years. So I really believe in what we do. But we've got a long history, too, in St. James. If any of you remember dial-up, we had a big dial-up customer base. And I remember I personally worked with the St. James Public Schools to get there. They were doing dial-up for a while, and we helped take it off. They didn't want to do it anymore. So we've done work here in town since, probably in the early 2000s. So it's a great community, and we look forward to, trying to serve the customers with fiber to the home.
It's my understanding that they're wanting to be on every pole. And so, so once this pole agreement is approved by council, then they'll go through the process of working with our public works director to get everything going, rocking and rolling. So with that, do you have any questions?
Lyle, you don't have any concerns or Grant with the pole attachment agreement?
Not with the pole attachment agreement.
All right. Any discussion or any questions for anyone? If not, could I get a motion to approve? I'll make a motion. Ryan makes a motion. Second. Tyler seconds. All in favor? Opposed? All right, moving on to Resolution 26449. Approve the staff as authorized to submit a grant for water infrastructure to Delta Regional Authority Critical Infrastructure Program Fund. Linda?
A resolution approving that staff are authorized to submit a grant for water infrastructure to Delta Regional Authority Critical Infrastructure Program Fund, and that the city administrator is given the authority to act and assume all signatory duties dealing with the award, and the city agrees to provide additional funds in the amount of up to $100,000.
That needs to be amended.
Yes, so this needs to be amended. I'm looking at Nathan to make sure that he doesn't have any issues with this either. So I need to amend the amount. The amount is at $100,000. And the reason that I need to amend that amount was because when I did this resolution, we did not have a budget for this grant yet. And, but we do now. And we didn't have it till this morning from our city engineer. And so we need to boost that amount, that additional funds. DRA does not really require that you have matching, but it would, I will honestly tell you, we have a better chance of getting this grant if you, and I'm going to use Lyle's words because I like it, but when you show that you've got a skin in the game, then, you know, you have a better chance of getting the grant. So we are asking that it's up to $153,108 because the grant we're going to be asking for, including the match, is $765,540.
So kind of let them know what this money will do. And
Yes,
it's
I will.
crazy expensive.
That's crazy expensive, yes. Since I've written most of it, okay.
Or Lyle or Leanne,
Yeah,
both of you.
if
one of you?
I goof it up, Lyle can come up here and, so back, I guess, in 2023, there was a major water break that occurred beneath the BNSF railroad track, Seymour Street. Most of you probably remember that. Well, since the city cannot excavate underneath the railroad, this damaged water main was permanently isolated from the service to avoid destabilizing the railroad. So that water service had to be rerouted through the remaining crossings. And so that highlighted the vulnerability of the existing water distribution system. And so the city's water distribution city is now divided into 3 sections instead, from north to south by Interstate 44 and then also the BNSF Railroad. So what happens is that there's also on the south side, we have a water tower. And so when that particular section was cut off, it cut off everything. And so we're not able to do any maintenance on the tower. We can't like disconnect the tower to do any maintenance on that tower. And so these 3 remaining crossings, they don't provide enough adequate water flow during any kind of emergencies, during peak flows of water demand, or when that southern water tower must be taken out of service for routine cleaning and maintenance. So this is a high priority. I mean, very high priority. Just to give you an idea, this encompasses about 1.09 square miles of the city, of the affected area. So that means that there's 2 schools. So there's a high school and an elementary that's affected. That's 1,190 students. The annexation of the KVC Boys Town, there is approximately, excuse me, 4 churches, 481 residential homes, 27 commercial businesses. The James Park, the pool, the library is on this side. So anything south of even Counselor Miller's house, which is very important too. So it's a total of a population of 1,107 people. And that's about 1/3 of the city's population. So we're hoping that DRA will, as we see it, as a high priority for our water system, we think that DRA will see that as a high priority for us as well.
So this fund will pay for the boring under the railroad, 10-inch water main.
Yeah.
So basically what the project would do is go from East Scioto, where there's a 10-inch water main, north up Wishon, also tie into an 8-inch main that runs between Wells 1, which is behind City Hall, and Well 2, which is at the football field. It would bore under the tracks, which would have at least a 12-inch casing under the tracks, a 10-inch pipe through, and then it would tie into an existing main on the north side of the tracks. Why a 10-inch? 10-inch basically gives us a jumping off point. It gets us under the tracks, and then on Springfield, East Springfield, there really is no water main on East Springfield. It's fed out of the alleyway, a series of 4-inch and 1-inch water lines. It gives us a jumping off point to start heading toward the Tacony water tower. It also gives us a shorter route getting over to the 10-inch main that we put underneath the interstate several years ago to Merrimack Street. So basically it helps get our system where it needs to be. The 10-inch line is actually replacing an 8-inch that was on Seymour. So this shifts down one block to the east. And the reason that is important is because the tracks at that location are elevated higher, which makes the boring and the tying in a whole lot easier.
With this project, would the standard of current piping that we have, is that what super clay still, or is this be a huge upgrade from what's left?
So, several years ago, the school did their remodel, and I can't remember what year that was, but what, 2019? We had actually come out of the football field tower with a plastic main, and got rid of some old 1-inch supply lines that fed the houses on that part of Scioto. So basically, we're going to tie into that, but as we go north, once we get to East Hardy Street, then it'll tie into an existing 8-inch cast iron, which is in good shape. And it would go a little further, tie into a 6-inch cast iron, which is in relatively decent shape. And then at that point, it would go underneath the tracks and tie into another cast iron on the north side. I mean, overall, our cast irons are not in horrible shape in this area. As you get to downtown main drag, it's smaller lines, and it's been at the ground for 100 years. But this stuff's not like that old. So it might be 50 years old, but it's still got a lot of life left in it.
All right, any other questions for Lyle or Leanne? This is just to apply for this grant, so,
Just to apply.
all right.
The grant does require a resolution. And we really could not see that there's any income that we could provide. But we did decide that we do need to put something towards this because DRA, they know that we can put something towards this. We just feel that they would, we feel that we have a better chance of receiving this grant. So, and we do have funds in the utility capital account that can cover this, by the way. What was the amount again? 153, 108. 108. It is because it's a 20%. Right. Right. There is a 20% contingency in this. So if we do not have to use the contingency, then we save that funding. We are also asking MRPC to help us manage the grant because, to be honest with you, Lyle and I just do not have the time. So they would be helping with the reporting, keeping us on track. You know, if we had to do quarterly reports and stuff like that, they would be doing the quarterly reports for us and everything. So.
All right, any other discussion? Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Right, makes a motion.
I'll second.
Meg seconds, all in favor? Opposed? All right, moving on to resolution 26450, approve a one-year employment contract with Leanne Demouche, City Administrator. Leanne has not requested any salary increase. She would like to see some more additional time off. As we all remember, when Leanne moved here, her main objective was to be able to spend more time with her family and stuff like that. Currently, her vacation hours are 240. It would take it to 320, which would add another 2 weeks vacation time. Her personal time would go from 16 hours to 32. And the thing we added this year to the contract was the most vacation hours she can roll over would be 240. That is basically what the employee's handbook says that the city employee can roll over. So basically just asking for a few more weeks off. But if anyone knows Leanne, like everyone does now, she doesn't take any time off. Most of the time she's at home at all hours working on things. So, I think it's a fair contract, and Leanne has agreed, and I would hope to get the blessing from you all. And I'm going to just go ahead. There was one question brought up about, well, what happens if she wants to take a whole month off? Well, any vacation time has to be approved. So I would have to be the one, or the mayor would have to be the one to approve it. So slim to nil chances anyone's going to give, city administrator a month off. So that kind of, it's always a possibility, family emergency, but what have you. But just to take a month or 2 months, I don't see her doing it with her work ethic and things like that. So that was brought up as one of the, just a thought. So I thought I'd throw that out there to you all. All right, any discussion on her contract? We get her locked in and keep her for another year?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler makes a motion, Meg seconds. All in favor? Opposed? All right, moving on to Public Works. Lyle?
I just have a couple items for this evening. First off, I believe Linda passed out a report. Looks kind of like this. This is kind of a work in progress. Starting back in February of 2025, the sanitation guys started collecting data as far as their monthly tipping tonnage, and then also basically how that compares over time as far as their tipping fees. One note about this, in April 2026, I guess it was at the beginning of May, we did receive a tipping fee increase of $1.25 per ton. So like I said, this is still a work in progress. We're still trying to gather two full years worth of data, and we're getting close. But you can get a better idea of how our tonnage has kind of dropped down since we've gone with the rollout carts. Those were actually implemented in July of 25. So it's starting to tell the story. I would like to point out that the solid waste truck, trash truck that is inbound it is replacing a truck that's 21 years old. Folks, it's lived a good life. It's time to move on to somebody else. And then the 2016 model, it'll roll into that reserve status. It'll be used on the cardboard route, and then if one of the new trucks has to go in for maintenance, it'll roll out on the route. Other than that, any questions about sanitation? Sorry, solid waste. Leanne alluded to getting the air conditioner fixed at City Hall. When we go in the morning, we'll take a look and make sure everything's holding together and that the utility office is cooled down. And if that's the case, then the intent is to open the drive-through window for our residents. I don't think Leanne mentioned that. Believe it or not, I know how hot it is outside, but we have placed on order 40 tons of salt for the winter. It was a little higher this year. It was $127.63 a ton. So the total price is $5,105 and some change. But with that amount of salt, that'll get us back to total, or our max capacity for not only the pea gravel mix, which is 120 tons roughly, and then 120 tons of bulk road salt that we'll have in the shed. So we'll be ready for whatever the Farmer's Almanac, if it's right this year or wrong. They are calling for some events, colder weather, so we'll see. Leanne and Danny also alluded to the fact paving should be starting next week, weather dependent, and that includes Anna Street to the bottom of the hill, Cartall from DD Highway to the dead end, South Charles from West James north, South Louise from West James north to the dead end, then Cornick and Lola, and then also Elm Street from West Washington to Helen Street. So we will be getting door hangers out to residents so that they know, please don't park on the road. If the paver is in the middle of the road, don't start blowing your horn. Please give them time to work, and we'll get through this mess. That's all I got. Anybody got any questions? Sir? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Lyle.
So last month, I was not able to present the financials because our TV sets got hit by lightning, okay. Well, thank you. You're going to have to do them. I'll go through these real quickly. I don't know if Mag can see. Can she see these? Probably not. Okay, sorry, Mag. So this is the third quarter. We'll go through the general fund and then go through utilities. So go ahead. I pulled the data on July 1. There is a comparison to last fiscal year. I don't know why it says no, but there's a target of 75%. So this is the general fund. As you can see, for the sales tax, we were at 78%. That was, there was an increase in sales tax of 21%. Use tax was 85%. And then the target, we were hitting, at the end of the year. So as you can see on the total, our target is 75%, and we were hitting 76%. The library fund did very well. Most of that was, like donations and things like that. Building permits, we're not, we hit, our building permits were really high, but we're not going to have that next year. It's because of all the construction that we had this year. The franchise fees, we need and I were talking about that. We needed to look at the franchise fees and why they were low. I need to do that. And cannabis has not been coming in like it usually is. We need to look at that as well. But overall, the total was 76%, so we did very well for the third quarter. Go back, Christy. I wanted to let you know, so for this past month, just to give you an idea, the sales tax, so the sales tax, our sales tax just came in. This would be for the month of August, which would be for business months, help me.
Probably June.
June and July. No,
They say 2 months.
2 months.
June,
It
May
would-
or June, May or June.
May and June, okay. So for August, last year in '25, our check for sales tax was $73,000. Our check for sales tax that we just received was $115,000. So So 25, 35, it went up $35,000. Our use tax last year for this same month was $23,925, and this year it was $44,047. So it almost doubled. And our cannabis last year at this time was $6,227, and it's now $8,076. So we're doing very well. So that's why I told you earlier when I was doing the budget that may have to increase the sales tax just a little bit at the end of the year. We'll see. So I may say that our sales tax went up not 9%, but maybe 10%. We'll see. So, okay, next slide. So for expenditures, our target is 75. For the general fund, as you can see, we're like almost right on. We're at 72% for our expenditures. This is for administration and for the police department. Ron knows how to spend money. So anyway, for parks and recreation, remember the pool closed, so a lot of the seasonal staff was not hired, so that's why the personnel is down. But she did keep everybody busy this year. We had a lot of summer programs going on. The concession stand was busy. The hot dogs are flowing, Nathan, after, okay. Public Works, streets, did very well. He's right on target at 75. The library operating is a little bit low, but he still had the summer reading program going on and things like that. Summer is always busy. So the general fund overall at 69%, so that's still good. As far as the general fund out, our revenues at 75 and our expenditures are at 67. What you want to do is, you know, our actuals, the revenue was 3.3 million and our expenditures is 2.6. So we're ahead. That's what you want to see, okay? So as you can see, our business is February and April. Our revenue targets were right on, and our expenditures, you know, since the pool, you know, at this time we may not open, and we didn't open. And then our insurance cost, you know, we did get our our expense from MIRMA. It did go up, and that was a little bit more costly than what we had budgeted. So overall, we're doing good. Utilities. So for their revenue, this is for shared services. She does not have other revenue. Everything she gets is a transfer. Her expenditures, her operating is a little bit lower because sometimes it's a little bit, you know, seasonal. You know, if she needs paper for her bills, you know, banking, things like that, she's at 66%. Electric, his revenue was at 77%. But remember, I had bought a budget adjustment to adjust his revenue down. Remember? Almost $1.5 million. So that's why his revenue is coming in on budget. So, and I will tell you, we just recently had the meter test done, so we need to bring that to, we met with him last week. We need to bring that to the utility board next month, and then we'll bring some, hopefully some, Lyle will bring, we can bring that to the council. We found a couple of things that may have be some causes of why the consumption has been going down. Found out that, you know, like the Walmart bill is really low in the consumption. Well, they painted the roof white. And that white roof causes electricity to, you know, make it go down. So there's things like that. We found out that a lot of companies that are putting in high efficiency, energy efficiency, you know, putting in, you know, new lights and things like that. So it's causing their consumption to go down. So as far as their power expense, though, it's, you know, it's at 76%. So overall, 55 on their expenditures. Water, they're at 69% overall, and their revenues at 65%. Wastewater, their revenue is at 68%, and then their expenditures are at 40%, and they have very little, most of their operating is people services. We have not been transferring out for any of the capital out of water or wastewater because there really just has not been the revenue to come in to cover any of their transfers. So we just have not been doing that. So that's why you see the large transfer budgeted, but we're not transferring it out. We're only transferring out what is needed for the shared services because that's all they really had. So we didn't do it. For natural gas, their actuals for their total for their revenue is at 58%. Natural gas is actually losing customers. People are getting off natural gas and they're going to electricity, all electric. I like natural gas, but I guess a lot of people don't, so they're going to all electric. And even new buildings that are going up, they're all electric. So we're just not gaining customers in natural gas. As far as the expenditures, though, he's at 77%. So he's using it. For solid waste, the other revenue, the reason it's so high is because we did not budget. If you remember, we had increased the budget for their, overall, they are at 56% for their expenditures, but for their revenue, they're at 75. The thing that's a little bit heartening is the fact that their revenue actuals is at 8.4, but their total for expenditures is at 8.2. So they're a little bit ahead, but not too much. I would like to see a little bit more ahead, but not too much. But was a big hit for us, especially for water. And so, yeah. So overall, if you have any questions on the financials.
All right, thank you, Leanne.
Yeah. And the only other thing I had was I agree with the mayor. I just wanted to bring this out, and the reason was because on the paying of the bills, I mean, I don't agree. I mean, I agree. I know you would like to see them, and you would like to see them before we pay them, before we write the check. However, I will tell you that we have had some bills that have been late being paid, and so we have to pay. We've been being charged penalties and interest on the bills, and it really doesn't, as a city, it doesn't really look good. And so I'm bringing that forward to you because I just want to keep that in there. Plus, one of the things I just want to make this comment and say it to you. So these are bills that we've already bought something, or we've already had a service provided to us, and then you as counselors are saying, what is this? What if you say, no, Leanne, we don't want you to pay this? And we have already had, we've already bought this, or we've already had this service done. How can I not pay this person or this company? Do you see what I'm trying to say here? Why? Okay. So I'm trying to point, because when you approve a budget, you're approving staff to spend that budget. So but one of the things when I first came into this position was the fact that you wanted to see the bills. You wanted to see the bills before they got paid by a check. Not if they're going to be late. Okay. I just want to clarify that.
So that wasn't always the case, though. That's only been in the last 3 or 4 years that was changed. So it used to be all we did was approve.
The Board of Aldermen or whatever approves the bills. You guys are too big to be doing that. Your staff should be paying the bills, and you all should be reviewing what they pay. That's it.
Okay.
Remind me when we placed the return code, I feel like that kind of covers that.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up too. Thank you so much, Council Miller, because y'all voted on a very structured procurement code. Thank you so much. Because, I make them, if it's under a certain dollar amount, they have to get, really structured bids, and, we have to do a request for proposals under under a certain dollar amount. And, I make them use the state contracts, and, if it's over a certain dollar amount, and
we're doing the purchase order.
right, we do purchase orders, and y'all are not approving things that are on purchase orders, because that's a totally different that's a different batch of, so the reason I say that is, even, sorry, Nathan, I'm going to throw you under, but even Law charges us interest because their bills are late.
Yep.
It's not a whole lot, but it's the way it is. It's in the contract that if it's late, and so, they charge us interest. So I don't like being late because it adds more money to our budget, so. No, just direction from, the fact that I don't mind giving all of y'all a list of what, I just would like to pay the bills in a timely manner. And I would love to give you what we've paid for, but, I don't want to, it's either I bring to you, here's what we want to buy, I can do that, and then tell you what we're going to buy, and then you approve that. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
What I'm gathering is pay the bills so they're not late.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay. No. I just felt that, I was trying to give you what you wanted, but.
So are we just we're just going to pay the bills?
Right.
And just go on, and then am I not going to do we're going to do any kind of a report on?
Yes, we still need to do a report on what we've paid, so that way you see it,
So
but
we're
we're going to go back to the way we used to do it. Okay. Correct.
I don't think it needs to be anything
Right.
to vote on. It's
No.
just like an FYI.
Yeah, FYI,
You're right.
Just like
Okay.
Phelps County Animal Rescue.
Well, they'll already be paid. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, I only got a couple things before the lady in the back row leaves. Lori Lamberth, I did not mention her last week in the mayor's minute. She was recently awarded the Kiwanis Club's Amy Turner Award for outstanding community involvement, what have you. Amy Turner was a long time a member of the Kiwanis. She passed away in 2023. They had this award that recognizes people. It's from the 100-year Route 66 to backpack programs to Cincinnati Santas to whatever. Lori's involved in that. So I wanted to make sure we recognized her for what she does for our communities. So Thank you, Lori. Just one other quick thing, you know, we are growing. North of St. James is going crazy out there, but we still have downtown, which is our small community, you know, hometown thing. We still got the small businesses, so we're growing, but we still got our hometown small businesses and things like that, and they are growing. We're having more businesses moving in. Some more buildings are going to be remodeled, redone, so a lot of positives. Still give you the small town feeling, even though we're growing. The other thing mentioned in social media was the need for housing. We're working on that. You guys last month approved to help funding for some senior citizens housing. There's another project going on with housing, and a third one that's in the making. So we're creating jobs, and now we're working on getting the move here and stay in St. James. So as I do every month, I thank you all for what you all do and help our community grow. So appreciate that. Our next meeting is September 14th, which is going to be right after the Grape and Fall Festival. So there's still baby cows walking around and a few carnival rides, but you know, we'll have room to get everybody in here. So again, thank you all. Leanne, thank you for putting the budget retreat on, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Yeah. They have not officially said yet, even though they've said. They're planning on some public hearings. I'm really pushing for them to do one in St. James, because the last one was held in Rolla, and they're